Once upon a time, in a cozy little house nestled at the end of a quiet street, there lived a young woman named Emily. She had just moved into her new home, excited about the prospect of creating her own space and making new memories. One sunny afternoon, an unexpected visitor would make her feel even more at home. As the sun streamed through the windows, Emily decided it was the perfect time to unpack some boxes that had been sitting in the corner of her living room. She pulled out a small box labeled Memories and began to sort through old photographs and keepsakes. Each item brought back a flood of nostalgia, from her childhood to her college years. One photograph in particular caught her attention. It was a picture of her grandmother, a loving and wise woman who had passed away a few years earlier. Emily had always felt a special connection with her grandmother, and her absence left a void in her heart. She sighed, feeling a mix of longing and happiness at the sight of the photograph. As she gazed at the picture, something remarkable happened. A soft, warm glow enveloped the room, and Emily felt an inexplicable sense of comfort and familiarity. It was as though her grandmother's presence had suddenly filled the room. "Emily, my dear," a gentle, familiar voice seemed to whisper in her ear. Emily couldn't believe her ears. She glanced around, her eyes wide with surprise, but there was no one in the room but her. "I've missed you so much, Grandma," Emily whispered back, tears welling up in her eyes. "I've missed you too, my sweet girl," the voice replied, full of love and warmth. Emily could almost feel the embrace of her grandmother's presence, even though she couldn't see her. They talked for hours, reminiscing about old family stories, sharing life updates, and seeking guidance on the challenges Emily was currently facing. Her grandmother's words were a source of solace and wisdom, and Emily felt an indescribable peace settling over her. As the sun began to set, the room's warm glow slowly faded, and Emily knew her grandmother's presence was fading with it. She whispered her final goodbyes, her heart filled with gratitude for the unexpected visit. With her grandmother's memory freshly invigorated and her heart lighter than it had been in years, Emily continued unpacking her memories. She knew that, in her new home, she would always have the love and guidance of her grandmother's spirit to keep her company. From that day forward, Emily cherished the time she spent in her cozy home, knowing that it was not just a place filled with her belongings, but also a place where cherished memories and loved ones could visit, even when they were no longer in the physical world. In a quaint little cottage on the outskirts of a picturesque village, there lived a young man named Lucas. He was an artist, known for his incredible talent in creating beautiful paintings that seemed to come alive on the canvas. Lucas was content with his solitary life, finding inspiration in the tranquility of his surroundings. One bright summer morning, Lucas woke up early, feeling a strong desire to capture the beauty of the blooming wildflowers in the nearby meadow. He grabbed his painting supplies and set up his easel by the open window, allowing the sweet scent of the flowers to waft into the room. As he began to paint, Lucas lost himself in his art, the colors flowing from his brush onto the canvas in a mesmerizing dance. The hours passed swiftly, and he was completely absorbed in his work. Just as he was about to add the final brushstroke, he heard a soft, melodious humming coming from outside the window. Lucas leaned out to see who it was, and to his surprise, he spotted a hummingbird hovering near the flowers, its tiny wings a blur of vibrant colors. The bird seemed to be observing his painting with great interest. Lucas couldn't help but smile at the enchanting sight. As he continued to watch, the hummingbird flew closer, almost as if it wanted to get a better look at the painting. Lucas decided to gently place the canvas on his windowsill, making it easier for the tiny visitor to inspect his work. To his amazement, the hummingbird hovered in front of the painting, examining it with keen, intelligent eyes. "Do you like it?" Lucas asked the bird, not expecting an answer. But, to his astonishment, the hummingbird began to chirp in response. It sang a delicate and harmonious melody. It was as if the bird was not only admiring the painting, but also expressing its approval. Lucas felt a deep connection with the hummingbird, and he realized that nature was speaking to him through this tiny messenger. He was overwhelmed by a sense of inspiration and gratitude. With renewed enthusiasm, he finished his painting, infusing it with the joy and wonder he had experienced that day. The hummingbird continued to visit Lucas from time to time, becoming a source of inspiration and a symbol of the deep connection between art and nature. Lucas's paintings grew even more enchanting, capturing the beauty of the world in a way that seemed to bridge the gap between reality and imagination. Word of the artist and his muse spread throughout the village, and people came from far and wide to see Lucas's extraordinary paintings. But for Lucas, the most important critic remained the tiny hummingbird, a symbol of the magic that can be found when art and nature come together in perfect harmony. In a small, picturesque town nestled in the rolling hills, there lived a young woman named Amelia. She was an avid gardener and took great pride in her lush, colorful garden that surrounded her charming cottage. Every day, she spent hours tending to her plants, nurturing them with love and care. One warm, sunny morning, as Amelia was tending to her roses, she noticed a peculiar thing. A single rosebush at the far end of her garden seemed to be different from the others. Its roses were not the usual vibrant red or soft pink, but a striking shade of deep purple. Amelia had never seen such a beautiful and rare rose in her life. Amelia decided to investigate this unique rosebush. She carefully pruned it, watered it, and gave it extra attention. Days turned into weeks, and the purple roses continued to bloom, their scent sweeter and more enchanting than any other flower in her garden. Amelia's garden soon became the talk of the town. People traveled from near and far to witness the extraordinary purple roses. It was not long before the local news and even national television caught wind of her incredible discovery. One day, an elderly botanist named Mr. Harrington, known for his vast knowledge of rare plants, came to visit Amelia's garden. He examined the purple rosebush closely, his eyes filled with wonder. "Amelia," he said, "what you have here is a truly unique and rare species of rose. It's known as the Amelia's purple. It's believed to be extinct, and you've managed to revive it. It's a botanical marvel." Amelia was humbled by the recognition and the knowledge that she had a part in preserving a species that had almost disappeared from the world. The discovery of the Amelia's purple rose turned her quaint cottage garden into a botanical haven, and people traveled from all corners of the globe to see it. However, Amelia remained true to her love for gardening. She continued to care for her garden, nurturing not only the extraordinary purple roses, but also the other flowers and plants she had always cherished. It was a reminder that even the most unique and beautiful things can be found in the simplest of places, right in our own backyard, and with a little love and care, they can thrive and bring joy to the world. Amelia's garden became a symbol of the power of nature's resilience and the magic that could be found in the most unexpected places. It also served as a reminder that sometimes the most beautiful and extraordinary things are found in our own little corner of the world, waiting for us to discover and appreciate them. In a bustling city, there lived a man named Samuel who had a small bookstore tucked away in a quiet, narrow alley. Samuel was a passionate book lover, and his little shop was a haven for those seeking solace in the world of words. One rainy evening, as the city was bathed in the soft glow of streetlights and the gentle patter of rain on cobblestone streets, a young woman named Lily wandered into Samuel's bookstore. She had been drenched by the sudden downpour and sought refuge from the storm. Samuel greeted her with a warm smile and offered her a towel. Lily thanked him and began to explore the shelves of books, each filled with stories waiting to be discovered. She felt an immediate connection to the cozy little bookstore, and as the rain continued to fall outside, she spent hours lost in the pages of various novels. The two struck up a conversation, discussing their favorite authors and the magic of storytelling. Samuel was deeply passionate about his collection, and Lily was equally enthusiastic about her love for books. As the evening turned into night, the rain finally subsided, and Samuel offered to walk Lily back to her apartment, carrying a stack of books she had chosen to purchase. They continued talking about literature and life, sharing stories of their dreams and aspirations. The more they talked, the more they realized they had a lot in common. Over time, Samuel and Lily's chance encounter in the bookstore blossomed into a beautiful friendship. They began to meet regularly to discuss books, exchange recommendations, and, most importantly, share their lives. Samuel's bookstore became a special place for both of them, not just because of the books it held, but because it was where their friendship had first taken root. As the years passed, Samuel and Lily's bond grew stronger. They supported each other through life's ups and downs, celebrated successes, and provided solace during difficult times. Their love for books had brought them together, but their friendship was the true treasure they had discovered. One day, as they were sitting in the cozy corner of the bookstore, sipping tea and discussing their favorite novels, Samuel turned to Lily with a twinkle in his eye and said, "You know, sometimes the best stories are the ones we live ourselves." Lily smiled and nodded in agreement, knowing that their own story was a testament to the magic of chance encounters and the power of books to bring people together. And so, in that little bookstore in a quiet, narrow alley, two hearts found each other through a shared love of literature, and they wrote their own beautiful chapter in the story of life. In a quaint fishing village by the sea, there lived an elderly fisherman named Captain Elias. He was well known throughout the village for his incredible stories of the sea and the many adventures he had experienced over the years. Elias was a wise, weathered man with a flowing beard as white as the foam on the ocean waves. One bright, clear morning, Captain Elias set out for his daily fishing trip, but today was different. As he cast his nets into the glistening waters, he noticed a peculiar shimmer beneath the surface. Curiosity piqued, he hauled in the net to reveal an ornate, ancient-looking bottle with a message inside. Elias carefully uncorked the bottle and unfurled the message. It was a letter, its paper yellowed with age. The message, written in elegant script, was from a sailor named Captain Benjamin who had set sail decades ago. Benjamin's letter spoke of a treasure hidden on a remote, uncharted island, and he implored anyone who found the message to seek it out. Elias's heart raced with excitement. He had always dreamed of one last grand adventure, and this message was a sign that his opportunity had arrived. With the letter in hand, he quickly made his way back to the village, sharing his discovery with the townspeople. The entire village rallied behind Captain Elias, offering their support and supplies for the journey. They believed that he was the one meant to uncover the long-lost treasure of Captain Benjamin. Elias gathered a small crew of volunteers and set sail for the uncharted island. The journey was filled with excitement and danger as they navigated through uncharted waters and faced unpredictable weather. Along the way, Elias shared his own stories of the sea, keeping the crew's spirits high and their hopes even higher. Finally, after many weeks at sea, they arrived at the mysterious island described in the letter. With the help of the crew, Captain Elias began searching for the treasure. They explored caves, climbed rugged cliffs, and braved thick jungles. The island was a world of its own, with exotic flora and fauna they had never seen before. One fateful day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, they discovered a hidden cave filled with glittering jewels, chests of gold, and precious artifacts that had been untouched for years. Captain Elias knew they had found the treasure of Captain Benjamin. Elias's heart swelled with gratitude for the adventure and the camaraderie of his crew. he realized that the true treasure was not the riches they had discovered, but the journey itself, the bonds of friendship he had formed, and the stories they would carry back to their village. They loaded their ship with the treasures and set sail for home. When they returned to the fishing village, the townspeople were overjoyed to see Captain Elias and his crew safe and sound. They listened with rapt attention as Elias regaled them with a tale of their adventure, the mysterious letter, and the remarkable treasure they had found. Captain Elias's final grand adventure had not only unearthed an incredible treasure, but had also brought the village together and filled their hearts with stories of the sea that would be told for generations to come. In the end, it was the journey and the stories that mattered most, just as Elias had always believed. In a quiet, remote village nestled deep in the forest, there was a legend of an ancient enchanted tree. The villagers believed that this tree, known as the wishing oak, had the power to grant one heartfelt wish to anyone who visited it on their birthday. The tree's bark was said to glow with a soft, ethereal light on the special day of those who made a wish. Lena, a young girl with a heart full of dreams and kindness, was intrigued by the legend from a very young age. She often heard stories from her grandmother about the wishing oak and how it had fulfilled the wishes of countless villagers for generations. On her 10th birthday, Lena decided it was time to make her own wish. She set off on a journey through the forest, guided by the stories her grandmother had told her. The path was filled with vibrant flowers and singing birds, making her journey feel like a magical adventure. After hours of walking, she finally arrived at the heart of the forest and stood before the majestic wishing oak. The tree was colossal, its branches reaching for the sky, and its bark appeared to shimmer with a hint of magic in the dappled sunlight. Lena closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and made her heartfelt wish. She wished for the health and happiness of her family, the well-being of her village, and the chance to make a positive impact on the world. She felt a sense of warmth and hope wash over her as she made her wish. As she opened her eyes, she noticed a soft golden light beginning to emanate from the bark of the wishing oak. The tree seemed to respond to her wish. With a grateful heart, Lena thanked the wishing oak and returned to her village. In the years that followed, Lena dedicated herself to helping others, just as she had wished on that special day. She assisted the sick, taught children, and supported the elderly. Her acts of kindness spread throughout the village, touching the hearts of all who knew her. Years later, as Lena celebrated her 20th birthday, she once again visited the wishing oak. This time, she didn't ask for anything for herself, for her life was already filled with joy and purpose. Instead, she wished for the tree to continue granting heartfelt wishes to all who sought it, bringing happiness and hope to her village. The wishing oak glowed even brighter in response to Lena's selfless wish, and the legend lived on, carried forward by the kindness and generosity of a young girl who believed in the power of wishes and the beauty of making the world a better place. The village continued to visit the wishing oak, and its magic brought smiles and hope to generations to come. In the heart of a bustling city, there was a small family-owned bakery called Sweet Haven. It was a beloved neighborhood institution known for its delectable pastries, warm smiles, and a mysterious painting that adorned the wall. The painting depicted a door in a meadow, surrounded by vibrant flowers, and a key hanging from a tree branch beside it. The bakery was run by an elderly couple, Arthur and Mabel. They had owned Sweet Haven for as long as anyone in the neighborhood could remember. Their bakery was a place where people gathered to share stories, savor delicious treats, and take a moment to appreciate the simple pleasures of life. One day, a young woman named Eliza, who had recently moved to the city, stumbled upon Sweet Haven while exploring her new neighborhood. The moment she walked in, the comforting aroma of freshly baked goods and the welcoming smiles of Arthur and Mabel made her feel like she had found a second home. As Eliza enjoyed her first pastry, she couldn't help but be drawn to the enigmatic painting on the wall. She asked Arthur and Mabel about it, and they shared the story that had been passed down through generations. The painting depicted the door to happiness, as it was called, and the key hanging from the tree branch was said to open it. The legend went that the door led to a place where one's deepest desires and dreams came true. However, no one had ever been able to find the door, even though many had tried over the years. Eliza was captivated by the story and the idea of finding the door to happiness. She made it her mission to search for it, hoping that it would lead her to the life she had always dreamed of. She visited Sweet Haven every day, discussing her plans and progress with Arthur and Mabel, who offered encouragement and sage advice. Eliza spent months exploring the city, searching for the location depicted in the painting. She visited meadows, flower gardens, and parks, but the door remained elusive. Her quest was not without its challenges, but it led her to discover the beauty of the city and the kindness of its people. One day, while she was sitting in a park, feeling disheartened, a friendly elderly man approached her. He noticed the key-shaped necklace she wore and asked about it. Eliza shared her story and her quest to find the door to happiness. The man smiled and said, "Sometimes we search for happiness in distant places, when it's right here within us and in the people we meet along the way." Eliza realized that happiness was not a door to be found, but a journey to be experienced. She returned to Sweet Haven with a new perspective, sharing her realization with Arthur and Mabel. They all agreed that happiness was not behind a mysterious door, but in the everyday moments and connections they shared with each other and their community. From that day on, Sweet Haven became a place not just for delectable pastries, but also for conversations, laughter, and a celebration of the simple joys of life. Eliza, Arthur, and Mabel discovered that the true door to happiness was their bakery and the relationships they had formed, and their hearts were filled with contentment. In a bustling city that never seemed to rest, there lived a young girl named Mia. She was an aspiring artist with a vivid imagination and a deep love for the world of colors and shapes. Maya spent her days working at a small art supply shop and her nights creating beautiful paintings in her cozy studio apartment. One evening, as Mia was returning home from work, she noticed an old man sitting on a park bench. He was feeding pigeons, his face marked with the wisdom of age and a twinkle of warmth in his eyes. Maya couldn't help but be drawn to him, and she struck up a conversation. The man introduced himself as Mr. Huxley and spoke of his own youth when he had been a painter. He told Maya stories of his art and the vibrant world he had once lived in, filled with creativity and imagination. As the evening turned into night, he revealed that he had lost his passion for painting long ago and had given it up for a more conventional life. Mia listened intently, captivated by Mr. Huxley's stories and the sadness that lay beneath them. She was struck by the idea that someone could lose their love for something as beautiful as art. So, she made a promise to herself that she would find a way to reignite Mr. Huxley's passion. Over the following weeks, Mia spent her evenings visiting Mr. Huxley, sharing her paintings, and teaching him new techniques. She reminded him of the joy that creating art could bring, and she encouraged him to pick up a paintbrush once more. Slowly but surely, Mr. Huxley began to paint again, his canvases filled with a newfound enthusiasm. One day, while Mia was at work in the art supply shop, Mr. Huxley visited her. He held out a canvas covered in vibrant, swirling colors. It was a beautiful, abstract masterpiece, bursting with life and emotion. Tears welled up in Maya's eyes as she saw the transformation in Mr. Huxley's work. He smiled and said, "You've given me the greatest gift, Mia. You've helped me find my passion again." Mia beamed with happiness, knowing that she had not only reignited Mr. Huxley's love for art, but had also made a true friend in the process. From that day on, they spent their days creating art together and sharing stories, bridging the gap between their generations with a shared love for creativity. The park bench, where Mia first met Mr. Huxley, became a symbol of their friendship and shared love for art. The bustling city that had once seemed so relentless now felt full of beauty and inspiration, thanks to the connection they had forged. Maya's act of kindness had not only rekindled Mr. Huxley's passion for art, but had also enriched her own life, reminding her of the power of art to bring people together and the beauty of connecting with others in unexpected places. In a small coastal village, there was a lighthouse that had stood tall for generations, guiding ships safely to shore through stormy nights and foggy mornings. The Lighthouse Keeper, a kind-hearted man named Mr. Anderson, had devoted his life to tending to the beacon and ensuring the safety of sailors. One summer day, as Mr. Anderson was busy cleaning and maintaining the lighthouse, he heard a faint cry for help coming from the sea. Rushing to the tower's lookout, he spotted a capsized fishing boat far out in the turbulent waters. Without hesitation, he contacted the Coast Guard and prepared to guide them to the distressed vessel. The rescue mission was challenging, with high waves and strong winds, making it a perilous endeavor. Mr. Anderson guided the Coast Guard with the lighthouse beacon, its powerful light cutting through the darkness and providing a lifeline to the stranded fishermen. With tremendous effort and skill, the Coast Guard managed to rescue the crew just in time, bringing them to safety. The rescued fishermen were immensely grateful to Mr. Anderson for his quick thinking and the guiding light of the lighthouse. The entire village hailed him as a hero, and the local newspaper ran a front-page story celebrating his heroic act. As the seasons passed, Mr. Anderson continued his diligent work at the lighthouse. He became well known not just for guiding ships, but also for his selflessness and dedication to the community. Over the years, the village prospered, and new families settled there, attracted by the safe harbor provided by the lighthouse. One day, as Mr. Anderson was in the lighthouse tower, a young woman arrived at his doorstep. She introduced herself as Emma and explained that she had recently moved to the village and was fascinated by the lighthouse. She had heard the story of Mr. Anderson's heroic rescue and wanted to learn more about the lighthouse and its history. Mr. Anderson gladly shared his stories with Emma, and they spent hours talking about the sea, the lighthouse, and the village's rich maritime history. They formed a deep connection, and Emma continued to visit Mr. Anderson, often bringing him fresh-baked treats and lending a hand with the upkeep of the lighthouse. As time went on, their friendship blossomed into something more. Mr. Anderson and Emma fell in love, and their love story became a cherished part of the village's folklore. They married in a beautiful ceremony by the sea, with the lighthouse as a beacon of light and love that had brought them together. Mr. Anderson, the lighthouse keeper, had spent his life guiding ships to safety, but in the end, it was the guiding light of love that had brought happiness and warmth to his life. The village continued to prosper, and the lighthouse remained a symbol not just of maritime safety, but of the enduring power of love and community. In a small, picturesque village nestled among rolling hills, there was a mystical garden known as the Garden of Whispers. It was a place of enchantment and wonder, said to be home to magical creatures and secrets whispered by the wind and the moonlight. For generations, the garden had been tended by a humble gardener named Clara. She was known for her deep connection to the earth and her ability to make the most delicate flowers bloom and the most stubborn plants flourish. Claire believed that the garden held a secret, a message whispered by nature itself. One summer evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Claire noticed something extraordinary. A rare and beautiful white lily, said to bloom only once in a lifetime, had appeared in the heart of the garden. Claire marveled at its ethereal beauty, its petals shining like pearls in the moonlight. In the days that followed, the white lily began to wither, and Claire realized that it needed something more than her ordinary care. She believed that the lily held the key to unlocking the garden's secret. She decided to embark on a journey to find the missing piece of the puzzle. Clara traveled through forests, crossed rivers, and climbed mountains, seeking the knowledge of wise sages and magical beings. She encountered talking animals, benevolent spirits, and guardians of ancient wisdom, all of whom provided her with clues about the garden's secret. After years of searching, Clara met an elderly hermit deep in the heart of a mystical forest. The hermit, known as the Sage of Echoing Leaves, listened to Clara's quest and nodded knowingly. He handed her a small, intricately carved box and told her that the garden's secret lay within. With the box in her possession, Clara returned to the Garden of Whispers, her heart filled with hope. She opened the box to reveal a single, silver key. Clara understood that this key was the missing piece of the puzzle, and the white lily was the garden's heart. She gently placed the key in the soil beneath the withered lily, and, with a whispered prayer, she watched as the flower's petals began to unfurl, revealing the radiant heart of the garden. A soft, otherworldly glow enveloped the garden, and the wind itself seemed to speak in a chorus of ethereal whispers. The garden's secret was finally revealed. It was not a physical treasure, but a deep connection to nature, a source of wisdom, and a place of solace. Clara realized that the true magic of the Garden of Whispers was in the shared love and care of those who tended to it. Clara returned to her duties as the garden's keeper, knowing that she was now part of the garden's enchantment. She welcomed visitors from near and far, sharing the garden's wisdom and the story of her journey to unlock its secret. The Garden of Whispers remained a place of enchantment, its beauty celebrated by all who visited, and its secret whispered through the generations as a reminder of the profound connection between humans and the natural world.